You're about to view an episode of Sites on EdTech, Zanichelli Venture's interview series with people from the education technologies world. I'm your host, Luigi Morino, and in this episode I interviewed Monika Katkute, CEO of Teachers Lead Tech, a guided learning space for primary school teachers to upskill themselves technologically and bring such skills to the classroom. Here is the interview. I'm very happy to be speaking to Monika today. Thank you for joining us, Monika.
Hi, Luigi. Thanks for having me.
First of all, could you please explain what Teachers Lead Tech is and what the story behind it is?
It's a long and a short story in one person who's sitting here. I've started in tech education 7 years ago with an after-school club for kids, because when working in the tech industry and startups, I saw, that those people who work in the startups are the real gold miners of 21st century. And I was looking at them and thinking, how they ended up here, what happened in their lives that they ended up in technology industry, and they're actually reshaping the world and have much wider possibilities in their careers, in their salaries, in the ways they can live and what they can create. And one of the things that was standing out was that most of them ended up in technology by an accident. It was so early, and their curiosity led to early coding lessons, to informatics. But most of them were people who were good in maths and had very big passion for building something. And technological skills gave them that opportunity. So when looking at that, I was wondering to myself, what would happen if ability to create with tech was part of a basic skill set that kids acquire at school today? Because I see ability to create with technology as important in 21st century as reading and writing. And that's where I started 7 years ago. It was a very playful and emotional journey. And I think in 2019, we've got a grant from google.org to start working with primary school teachers. And, we thought it will be only a grant and we'll see how it works. But after the first months, it was kind of obvious that if we want to make it a part of formal education, a part of everyday basic skill building to every child, we have to work with teachers. And in the midst of pandemic, we launched Teachers Lead Tech, which is a guided learning space for primary school teachers to learn to create with technology.
Okay. So where have you launched during the pandemic?
We've launched in Lithuania, and in September 2020, we've launched with 600 teachers, which was 14 months ago. And now we have over 3,000 teachers working with us.
So how does the model work?
It's a yearly subscription that you come and join a year-long learning program where you have at least two modules a year. And it's split into smaller sections, like you go through technological concepts and then you have a creative lesson. So we have our own pedagogical approach, which is understand, practice, and then create.
So who is the customer? Are schools the customer? Are they public or private schools mainly?
They're mostly public because we don't have as many private schools in Lithuania to be exclusive to them. And we work with schools nationwide. And the person we serve is a primary school teacher, average age 49, 98% being women. And we serve them in most remote little villages to capital schools.
Yeah.
So, and we bring it as a kind of continuous support and learning system to kind of cover entire 4-year primary education.
Right.
And the ones who pay are, the ones who pay for the teacher's learning process are very different. It can be the school, it can be municipality, it can be technology company investing into teachers. And one day I hope we'll have national governments investing into teachers as well.
Sure, sure, sure. Can you tell me a little bit more about the platform and its features? How does it work?
Mm-hmm. So our platform is rather simple because it's more about its purpose is to guide teachers through the learning process and to store content that can be easily accessed, and also provided in a way for teachers to understand easily and use it in classroom. We're also working now on ways to assist teachers while they are in the classroom, when they're already working with kids, because it's quite a challenge when you're teaching a very new subject and you have 20 plus kids in the room asking for your help. So I think that's one of the kind of technological developments we'll work on more next year. But I think what we're trying to achieve is to kind of have our own secret sauce, what it means to guide successfully a teacher from I can't do this, this is impossible, to I'm so proud of myself. And building this learning path to a primary school teacher is hugely rewarding, because you're not only changing their curriculum, but you're also building up their confidence that they can actually, be an amazing teacher in 21st century schools.
Definitely, definitely. I'd like to ask you, I think you took a demo to show us.
Sure, I would love to. So I'll show you our very tiny, very short a demo in English, because we only have a demo version of in English of our product, because the audience we work is primary school teachers. So whichever market we go to, we're going to be in launching our products in a local language. We'll not try to add more stress to the teacher, so they can be kind of feel softer and supported in at least language wise, that they can understand what's happening around them.
I see. Okay. But you also have the possibility to show us the Lithuanian platform after the English demo?
Yeah, sure.
Let's do that then. Okay, go ahead whenever you like.
Cool.
Hi there, my name is Rasa. I'm from Teachers Lead Tech, and I'm here to show you around our Teachers Lead Tech learning platform. So right now we are in a home screen where each teacher sees her guided learning path. For English-speaking teachers, right now we have Intro to Technology Creativity and Healthy Planet course that consists of 4 more lessons if you press right here. Each lesson is based on our methodology Understand, Practice, Create, which leads teacher and learner from fundamental understanding of technological concept to creative expression. And each lesson has all the materials that are needed to transfer these skills and apply this lesson in the classroom, such as handout for students, lesson plan for teachers, video instructions, and all the detailed information about this lesson. Right here in the learning map, you can see all the courses that we have available, such as creative digital literacy, virtual reality, creative programming, and others. Right now, we have Healthy Mind and Intro to Technology Creativity available, yet we are getting ready to launch other courses for English-speaking teachers as well. In live sessions menu bar, you can see all the live online skill building sessions that we have planned for teachers. So teacher can join us live or watch session recording later. And in this help button, you can also find us and ask us any questions. So this is us in a nutshell, and we look forward to seeing you on board.
Okay, thank you. How about in the Lithuanian version? Which products do you have on there? Which courses?
Let's go. So the interesting part with our Lithuanian version is that we even have a different name in Lithuania. And it took us a year to be brave enough to change our name because teachers just couldn't pronounce our name in English. You know, for primary school teachers, just for a tiny few, English is a very natural language.
Yeah.
And that's why we switched to Lithuanian, and it made things so much easier because when teachers talk to each other, they just say our name, Vedlei, and they remember it easier and they feel the tone, etc. So we believe that wherever we go, we'll have a very local name there, just because we care about teachers not being that they feel that they're part of the community, and they don't have a kind of a fear to even say our name out loud. So when you land here, you enter the main page where you get the most important announcements. For example, this one is with our partnership with Google and their Be Internet Awesome open course. So it's one of the ways we attract new teachers is we have partners who we do content projects with, but most of the other teachers join as paid users, and they join their learning path for an entire school year. For example, here you can see what modules and what lessons are planned for you in an upcoming month, depending on which learning path you've built to yourself. And you can see what lessons are upcoming, what modules do you have. For example, this is Scratch 2. It means that you've already went through the first course and now you're going to level 2 and continuing. And for that's one of our newest, which is data analysis. And we have primary school teachers already programming data and sorting data with 3rd or 4th graders. And they're doing amazing, actually. We were really kind of scared that we'll be asking too much from teachers, but we're so slow and patient, and we're trusting them in advance, and they do amazing results. And they're those guys who are finishing data analysis in January. They'll start a artificial intelligence course in February. So it's a very, our approach is to introduce them to a wide variety of technological tools and technological concepts, so they can actually not only use it, but actually play and merge and blend different tools when thinking about technological solutions. I guess what's very important to emphasize, and what's really came to us as an insight in a very painful way after going in kind of in our project for with our pilot project 2 years ago, we wanted teachers to learn technological concepts and be so pro and move fast, but it was too much for them. It was too new, it was too demanding, and also it was so much out of their scope what they have to do in the classroom. So what we did actually was that we took, for example, technological concepts such as cycles. We teach it in Scratch, but the creative lessons we offer, creative projects we offer, are subject-based.
Yeah.
So for example, cycles can come in maths or in biology. You can teach them history, etc. So it's not another lesson. It's a skill that is easily blended into your day-to-day curriculum, and it's really, really helpful to the teachers.
Okay, okay. Do you have a map showing us all the courses that you have on the Lithuanian?
It's under development now, but I can, because I'm a very eager learner, I can show you mine. Of course, the one thing that we're working on as well, and I think it will be very nice to see. It will be nice to see it live in the processes that we're trying to find the secret sauce I've mentioned to you. What's your learning pace? What's your best, a way to learn? Do you like to watch live sessions, or do you watch recordings, etc.? And what's your progress in an entire school year? So it's kind of finding that a guided learning path, secret sauce to teacher success. And then in my learning path, I can see all the the courses I've added to my gallery. So you have data analysis, 3D modeling, Scratch in 3 levels, storytelling, Healthy Planet. And if you want to add more, you can have something, you can see the models that are not on your list and might be hidden. For example, Google's course for being Internet Awesome, Scratch 3. And and there are some modules that are not published yet because they're coming only in February, such as artificial intelligence and virtual reality. So there's plenty for teachers to work with. And the third part is your classroom profile, because just to see, and we don't expect teachers to follow our agenda on how often or what creative lessons they should transfer to kids, but we also do our best to facilitate their smoother beginnings.
Sure.
Because from what we saw, our onboarding process to our product ends when teacher has taught at least 2 or 3 lessons in the classroom. They can watch recordings for 2 or 3 months, but before they hit the classroom and realize and embody what it actually means to their kids, it's still just part of the journey.
So on the platform, are there lesson plans that then the teachers can use with the kids, or is the content on the platform just the teaching material for the teachers themselves?
So when you come into a lesson that you pick, you have handouts that are either to the teacher or to the student. And as I've said, those handouts, this part is what we're experimenting with, and we'll be launching a beta version very soon, where we'll be adding more help to the student to be self-sufficient within the lesson. So it will be a virtual handout rather than just a PDF or a print.
I see. And so of the teachers that you have had on your platform learning Scratch and learning data analysis and so on, all the courses you have on the platform, how many of them have actually started teaching these subjects that they have had a chance to learn on Teachers Lead EdTech platform?
So I would say around, I think we have around 75% actually active teachers who do use us regularly, and around 65% who already tried it in the classroom. And our goal is 80%.
Sure.
And just to kind of find best ways and tips and tricks and support systems that it becomes a regular practice.
How are you collecting the feedback about when they actually start teaching the courses? Do they tell you, or is there a system embedded in the platform?
Very good question. Most of what we hear from teachers now, it's either through their written feedback. We've had scientific research done last year that we've received some qualitative and quantitative feedback from the teachers. Also, we get feedback when we have live virtual sessions where teachers share their experience. But that's exactly why we're building that those virtual handouts to kids, so we can actually see what's happening in the classroom. We won't personalize it to children, so we won't collect data. We won't understand what child did what, but we want to understand what's happening in the classroom and how we can serve and help teachers to actually teach and work with kids in the classroom. So I think it's in a way it might become a teacher's assistant in teaching coding and other technological concepts.
Okay, that's very interesting. Thanks for showing us the Lithuanian platform. So something that I was thinking while you were showing us the platform is the difficulty for teachers to find the time for self-training and learning. How did you manage to get this across with public schools principals, or whomever you actually interface with? And how did you manage to get teachers to schedule the time for their own learning?
I think our system in Lithuania is a bit different, because usually teachers finish their work around in the afternoon. So it doesn't, and last until like 6 or 5 p.m. So they might have a little bit more flexibility, but it's just, I think it's a very tiny difference, but to be honest, I don't know.
You don't know when they schedule the time for themselves?
I have no idea. I think I don't think it's I think it's an extra effort to them, and that's why we're very, very grateful for their bravery. And I think it's also an extra effort, not only finding the time to learn, but actually finding courage and to start working with kids.
Sure.
Because and most of that comes from, I think, no matter how hard teachers resist, most of them already understand that the shift is happening. Pandemic accelerated it. They understand that, you can't keep children sitting at the table for 45 minutes copying letters and expect them to be active learners. So I think they feel it. But at the same time, I do understand why they're scared, because the enormity and the amount of new approaches and suggestions is so huge. And I think the new generation of products that will serve teachers will have to be very, very systematic. Be a tool, you have to be a system to support the teacher. And I guess it's and also, at the end of the day, primary school teachers are mostly teachers who chose this profession because they love kids. And as soon as they see sparkles in their kids' eyes, as soon as they see that kids that, were struggling are succeeding, we have kids with learning difficulties and even learning disabilities succeeding in the classroom, they have such a relief, because they finally have something to give to the kids that they're excited about. And usually those teachers are the ones influencing their colleagues.
Right. This is very interesting that you say teachers are sufficiently self-motivated to find the time to utilize Teachers Lead Tech to learn the skills that then they're going to be teaching in the classroom. So this is interesting because of a debate on how much coercive power is needed in helping teachers to, or in driving teachers to change the methodologies in which they teach. your experience is that they are sufficiently self-motivated when they have a tool such as Teachers Lead EdTech to actually be the drivers of this learning path themselves without the need of coercive measures.
I wouldn't say exactly that they're self-sufficient, because the decision-making process to begin with might be very coercive.
Okay.
They might join because they were pushed to, recommended to, and they, they see that they won't be able to avoid it.
Yeah.
But it's our job to make it work for them as quickly as possible.
Okay.
In a few months, in a 2, 3, 4 months, sometimes it's 6 months, sometimes after the first year, they understand why they did it. And it's a huge responsibility to us. But also we cannot expect teachers to change their approaches in 1 or 2 sessions. It takes time.
Sure.
And it takes time in the classroom mostly.
Sure.
So it's I think it's quite coercive in terms that we're really convincing them to join. We have colleagues convincing them, we have principals convincing teachers, and we have a lot of teachers who, not a lot of, but who refuse to join even if their principals suggest that you should try. That's why we say that we're now reaching 40% of teachers in Lithuania and are going for 80% for the next school year, because we know that 100% is just.
Oh, wow. So that percentage was of the total amount of teachers in Lithuania.
Yes, we're a small country. And we're working very fast. Yeah,
that's absolutely impressive. Do you have, by the way, I need to ask the question, do you have any competition in providing these services?
We have competition in terms of content providers, but in terms of systematic teacher upskilling and creating not digital content, but actually creative content focused on creative technology skill building.
Sure.
We have quite a lot of kind of informatics tasks, etc., but it's not appealing to kids these days. So it's like Scratch. It should be a non-negotiable next to alphabet and calculus. It's just so smartly done, and it appeals to every natural learning aspect kids in primary school have. So it's I think it's not only that we don't have competition, it's also that we're so heads on and kind of we're not we really want teachers to succeed.
Sure.
It's those letters we receive from teachers, they're just heartwarming. It's so much better than any good than any good kind of marketing article you write, or any kind of public notices you get. But teachers' feedback is just it's heart melting.
What have you noticed when you were explaining about teachers that as much as school principals try to coerce them, or you might try to convince them, some really do not want to join, whereas others are quite receptive from the very start? What patterns have you noticed? Is it usually younger teachers are more keen in joining, and teachers who are getting closer to retirement are less keen to try using Teachers Lead Tech, which might also be somewhat comprehensible, considering that upskilling once one is close to being 60, close to retiring, is rather hard. And so without discussing whether it's understandable or not, what kind of patterns have you noticed?
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm so pleased that our teacher community is breaking all the stereotypes we've heard before, because there's no kind of one-way pattern. There are uh, 3,000 personalities who have different situations, and I guess the most teachers who stand out are the ones that do it for their kids. It's not about the age or location or their pedagogical experience. Of course, for younger teachers, it's much easier to learn because they're themselves, most of them, if they're in their early 20s, are digital natives, and the digital literacy is just better when it comes to coding and virtual reality and kind of technological concepts. But we had a teacher last year who finished year one, and she retired, and she joined our closing event, and she said, you know, I wish I was born later, because finally finally it's something I believe is very valuable to my kids. So it's just, you know, that we have 3,000 learners, and they're everyone is very, very different, but and you know, the stories we get from teachers is that we don't have any excuses left to to stop, because most of them have been in school for more than 20 years. So it's they have all the skills needed to serve kids. So they just need to enhance their and uplift and just expand their portfolio, rather than, you know, to reinvent themselves, which is and I think that's the thing they're most afraid of, because in the last decade they've heard so much push and reforms that they need to change this, they need to change that, you should do that, you should do that. I think they're already confused a little bit. No one actually came and told them, you're doing amazing, let's talk what we can do, how we can help you. It's rarely happening, and teachers are, you know, they're used to being told off, and they are not used to being encouraged. They encourage their kids mostly, but there's very little room for them to be encouraged.
I understand. So speaking about the teachers and schools you work with, so who's paying for your services?
It can be school itself.
The school itself.
It can be a municipality, for example. We're signing now a 3-year deal with our capital city municipality to cover all schools in the city. Or it can be technology companies who are working locally and are investing into teachers just to strengthen future talent and quality of education. So it's very, very mixed. And it can be grants as well, or partnerships with other companies, but mainly it's municipalities and schools.
It's very interesting, the partnerships with local tech companies. Are they investing that as philanthropy, or is it an investment in future qualified workforce?
I think both. I think it's a way to kind of at least do something about the quality of educational systems, because you know, it just happens that technology industries attract most of the talent from all industries now. So I don't see the difference between any industry and technology industry in 5-6 years. So every industry, it will eventually be technology industry.
Let me ask you, what's your way in with schools, with principals? What is your marketing strategy, if you like, or your networking strategy?
Calls.
Really?
We call a lot.
Really?
I could give you a magic wand and say, you know, we have this funnel, but at the end of the day, our team gets a list and we just start calling. Most of the team is calling when we need people, because now we're working with 500 out of 750 schools in Lithuania. So in the next 2 weeks, we're planning to hit the rest. So it's going to be a lot of calls. But of course, calling is in the context. It means that we already might have a teacher learning with us in that school. We might, send a letter through municipality and then call. So there's a lot of work done around it, but kind of nothing crazy, just a simple warm conversation to get acquainted and to start partnership. And we see that in next year, kind of client service wise, we'll be investing heavily into serving principals, because if they don't understand what their teachers are doing, it will be very hard for them to support them and to encourage them. So we will work on that as well.
What's the story behind your first customers? How did you manage to get them on board?
I think there were two types. One part of our early customers were teachers who were part of the pilot project we did with Google, and they just wanted to work with us furthermore. And when we were pivoting to teachers lead tech, we did some open lessons in the beginning of the pandemic, and those teachers simply invited their colleagues to look at us. But at that time, it seemed that we're doing something, and that pilot is really helping, and we're attracting teachers. But now when I look back, I think it was a combination of luck and timing and everything. And of course, a good partner in the Vilnius municipality, because they, Vilnius as a capital, they took a bet, and they said, we want to invest in computational thinking skills early on in our city.
Sure.
And we want to serve kids today. So I think it was a combination of an amazing partner and brave teachers. And I hope we'll repeat that success in other markets we go to.
What was the partnership with Google project that you mentioned?
We received, as I said, when we were still working as an NGO, we received a grant from google.org.
Yeah.
And we started piloting with primary school teachers. We did 3-month courses. We tried to squeeze 3 modules in 3-month courses. We tried to give them as much as possible without realizing that it's too much to them. So it's we had to unlearn our beliefs of what's the pace of learning for the teacher, and to settle into their pace to actually serve them and stick to the school year rather than short courses.
But this program kind of set a first example of what Teachers Lead EdTech could do, and was probably instrumental to you gaining your first clients, apparently the Vilnius municipality. Is that the case?
I think I think it was crucial in terms of us committing to primary school teachers.
Sure.
As an audience, because working with Google, Google.org grant was also pivotal in terms of understanding that if we won't build a sustainable product, we won't solve the problem in the long run, because we will be one of those projects who comes, teases teachers with one course, and project ends, we leave, goodbye. And we want to be next to the teacher for a year or 2 or even 3. Yeah. So it's usually impossible in terms in the frame of a project. So we need to, and also if you want to scale massively, you need a technological solution. And I think we've learned so much through the google.org grant, and I'm really, really grateful to them for their trust and just, investing openly into whatever might work. for the future prosperity.
Did you already know at the time that after launching the project with google.org, you would continue into what Teachers Lead Tech is nowadays, or more or less?
I understood that after we've launched the google.org program in spring 2019. And after the first month, it was obvious to me that this is a scaling opportunity.
Sure.
But I was really, really resistant because I knew that I will have to do it again, to build another company while still in a company. And then when we kind of already committed to Teachers Lead Tech, pandemic hit, and now, you know, I was a mom of 3 young children, saving one business, raising for another business. So it's I was really, really resisting to the idea of launching a startup because I knew how much energy it will require. But that thought of what we can do and how we can serve teachers just couldn't leave me.
Definitely.
And here we are.
So when are you going to finally launch in other countries in Europe? You've mentioned it a few times during our interview today, but can you give me a more precise date or time frame that we can look out to?
I'd love to give you precise dates, but I give you my dream dates today. So would love to launch in Poland in February 2022, because we have 2 cohorts per year. We either onboard teachers in September or in the midst of the school year. And then fingers crossed, we might launch in Italy in September. That would be amazing, because it's impossible to understand that Italy has the same amount of kids in primary school education, which is nearly 3 million, which is the number of people in Lithuania. Yeah. So it's just crazy to understand how much potential there is. And of course, I just don't know. When we started, we thought, you know, we'll go to Asia, maybe to Scandinavia, maybe we should do something crazy. But now the more I think, the more I see, you know, there's so much room to make actual improvements in Europe. There's so much space and there's so much attention needed to educational systems in Europe. I think that's where we'll focus for the next 2 or 3 years.
Very needed, and very needed in Italy for sure. I confirm, and I really look forward to seeing Teachers Lead Tech grow in Europe, starting from the example you've set in Lithuania. Great example for sure. Hopefully Poland, and definitely hopefully Italy and the rest of Europe. Thanks a lot for being with us today, Monika, and I look forward to seeing your development.
Thank you, Luigi. Best of luck.
Thank you.